What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm Caught Stealing Fantasy Baseball Show. We continue our ADP series today, breaking down the first base position for the 2026 Fantasy Baseball season. We're going to be breaking down each position in about a 30-minute show, going over our favorite top plays, sleepers, busts, and guys we're looking to target. Grande, how are we doing, man?
We are doing well. First base is fun. Definitely have um, some takes to get off my chest about
Sure.
the position here, John. But it's a fun one. You know, we have done a couple positions by now, and we have gotten the two worst ones out of the way, I
Sure.
would say. And first base is full of top 100 picks, full of interesting people to talk about. So I'm excited.
If you guys don't already have the Fantasy Baseball Draft Guide, you can scan that QR code right there on the screen. It includes the Fantasy Baseball cheat sheet as well. Fantasy Baseball season is obviously right around the corner. Draft season is here. You get all of your rankings, projections, strategy articles. You have the front office insights from Howard Bender and Jim Bowden included. You have the cheat sheet with the draft grid and auction values, sleepers, busts, rookies. I might have said that already. AL and NL only rankings, prospect rankings, dynasty rankings. It's all included here in the Fantasy Baseball Draft Guide. And if you want to get the entire All-Pro package, you can do that as well. Fantasy Alarm just won the 2025 FSGA Awards for Best Written Content. Go to fantasyalarm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50. Saves 50% off that first month, and March is the best month to sign up and take advantage of this offer because you get the draft guide, you get the cheat sheet, you get all of the seasonal fantasy advice for all sports, you get all of the DFS advice for all sports, and all the betting advice for all sports for that first month here, which means March Madness for college basketball, MLB DFS at the end of this season, NHL, NBA, PGA, MMA, NASCAR, all going on right now. You get all the bets, DFS, and seasonal fantasy you want included for just $20. So scan that QR code, fantasyalarm.com/YouTube. Promo code YT50. We're going to be taking a look at the first base position here today. If you go to fantasyalarm.com/MLB/ADP, you'll see our composite ADP rankings here, where you guys can take a look because obviously if you play on Yahoo, your ADP might be a little bit different than if you play on ESPN or if you play on Fantrax or NFBC. So this is a bit a look at some composite ADP rankings. This was put together a few days ago, so some things may have shifted as more drafts happen. The composite ADP changes. So if you want the latest ADP, go to fantasyalarm.com/MLB/ADP to check it out. But for now, Grande, this is what we're looking at, and it's led off by Nick Kurtz. Last year's Rookie of the Year is the first baseman off the board. Sutter Health Park aided, or is this dude just the real deal here, Grande?
I mean, 36 home runs in 117 games. He had the second most home runs at the position. The games played in the rest of the top six, okay? 162, 155, 160, 155, 162. Those are the games played for everyone in the top six outside of Nick Kurtz, who hit more than everyone other than Pete Alonso at the position. He played 117 games. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, like, am I saying Nick Kurtz is going to hit 50? No. But I'm not saying Nick Kurtz could potentially hit 50. I mean, that is obviously in the range of outcome here. It's an interesting shift. They're going to move him to leadoff, I believe, this year. I know that's been, like, what they're doing in spring training, and it's been
Otani, right?
it's been a common thing where like the traditional you got to have your best hitter hit third and fourth days are kind of past us, and how do we get our best players as many at bats as possible? Aaron Judge, you hit second. Kyle Schwarber, you lead off. Shohei Ohtani, you lead off. Nick Kurtz, you lead off. So I think, I mean, dude, 36, 90, and 86 in 117 games in a minor league stadium again.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be a lot more said than that. There's a reason why this is the top first baseman off the board. The second first baseman off the board is a guy that obviously had a really good year. There was also a lot of really unlucky parts to the year. And we
Yeah.
saw power pickup in the postseason, especially. Everything seemed to just leave the yard off Vladdy's bat. Um, but like Vladdy was 13th in home runs at 23. He was second in runs, but he was 11th in RBI, and we're drafting him in the second round, basically at the same ADP as Nick Kurtz. It's a pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what's funny is, again, this is all depending on the platform that you're drafting at. There's at least from what we're looking at the composite ADP page, there's actually a significant difference on ESPN between Kurtz and Vladdy. Vladdy is going off the board at 16. Kurtz is going off the board at 60. But Yahoo has them within 2 picks of each other. Fantrax has them within one. RT Sports basically has them going at the same time. NFBC has them going at the same time. So if you play on ESPN, you're actually getting a great value on Nick Kurtz here, comparatively to every other league format. Now, this could certainly change as more drafts happen on ESPN. Maybe we see Nick Kurtz move up the board a little bit more, but ESPN is the outlier. So if you're drafting there, you get a little bit better value there on Nick Kurtz. Pete Alonso, new home, Baltimore. We know they moved in the walls a couple of years ago. That lineup should have plenty of talent in it. I know there's been some guys that haven't necessarily lived up to expectations. There's some other injuries already happening. Jackson Holiday injured, Jordan Westberg injured again.
Yep.
Adley Rutschman coming off of a bad season. Gunnar got hurt to begin during spring training last year. Took him a little bit to get going last year, but one of the biggest free agent splashes of the offseason, Pete Alonso now in the middle of that lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get what you're gonna get from Pete Alonso year in, year out, right? No matter, I mean, I would say, let's see, per Baseball Savant, it was in 2025, Oriole Park at Camden Yards was 19th. It's a slight upgrade from Citi Field. Citi Field ranked 25th in park factor. And you're talking about Pete Alonso, who has hit 53, 16 because COVID, 37, 40, 46, 34, 38 home runs in his career, and has barely missed games. I mean, he is like as safe as it gets at first. You're just talking about penciling in 35 plus home runs, penciling in 90 runs, penciling in basically 100 RBI a year. And Pete Alonso plays every game. So, like, yeah, I am absolutely in on Alonso if you miss out on Kurtz and Vladdy. And I honestly, like, I think there's a case where I know Vladdy's, you look at the metrics and there's going to be an uptick in the power department for Vladdy. He does have a really high ground ball rate, which has always kind of been his like bugaboo.
We all expected Vladdy to hit more homers than he does. Yes. He had one big home run year, but that's about it.
Alonso does it every year. Yeah. And I think that's where if you miss out on Vladdy, don't be very upset. Pete Alonso is right there waiting for you to just draft a 3,500 guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love Alonso, and the landing spot looks good too.
Yeah, Bryce Harper going after that again. RBIs and runs, I guess, aside, like, Harper's a guy that can hit you 25 to 30. He did have 12 stolen bases last season. OPS has always been great. On base percentage is always great. The batting average can be in flux. He only hit 260 last year. Chased a lot of pitches outside the zone. Not a great whiff rate for him last year. So lost kind of the plate. 33 years old now. I mean, what do we think Bryce Harper's going to continue to be on the rise, or would you rather kind of fade him for some of these guys like maybe Ben Rice, Rafael Devers, going a little bit later than him in terms of ADP right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think like this Olson Harper range is interesting. Like Olson's another guy who hasn't missed a game in like years. I think like literally years. He plays every game. Harper, there's still things suggesting that he was a little bit unlucky last year. Still had like 600 plate appearances. So I'm comfortable getting to Bryce. all the talk this offseason was about what Dave Dombrowski said. I don't think necessarily Dave Dombrowski was wrong. I don't know if Bryce Harper is like as elite as he once was, but still a very good baseball player. I don't disagree with your take though. Like waiting a little bit, not even waiting, just like ending up with Ben Rice and Rafael Devers. If those are your guys, right? Just drafting
Yeah,
them
you take him a little bit
before.
early. 5, 6 picks ahead. It's one round.
I mean, we've talked about Ben Rice like pretty extensively and how he has the most beautiful looking Statcast page you'll ever see in your life. I mean, he was basically 90th percentile in every single offensive category you can think of other than bat speed. Um, and you look at that and he was kind of like didn't he hit a lot of line drives, and I know that is something that needs to change because we need more lift on our hard hit baseballs. So I expect the home runs and everything to just trend in the right direction for Ben Rice for sure. And then, dude, Devers, like, it didn't matter when he shifted ballparks, right? Like, he was just Rafael Devers. I hit 35 home runs. I drive in 110 runs. I score 100 runs year in, year out, no matter where I play baseball. So, um, I, it's hard for me to like look at Rafael Devers and think, yeah, I'd probably take him over Bryce Harper, and I might even take him over Matt Olson in most
Sure.
formats.
Yeah, he
Uh,
hit from an average standpoint much worse with San Francisco. Hit 236, but did have 20 bombs with them. So that maybe the ballpark killed a little bit of his batting average compared to leaving the AL East and leaving Fenway Park, but power numbers were there. So that's really all that matters. And we know he can be a really good hitter. So maybe he adjusts now to a full season and takes advantage of games played in cores and things like that to kind of help boost some of his overall production there. But San Francisco is another team that has a pretty good lineup, so
yep.
I like Devers there. Maybe the most surprising stat of all time was last year was the stolen base numbers from Naylor.
Yeah.
Um, I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
if we can count on that happening again from a standpoint here, but again, good lineup, has some power, good hitter. I mean, Naylor. Yeah, Freddie Freeman has said he's going to hit cleanup on that in that lineup, so there's obviously that upside. And then Pasquash, we talked about Kansas City and how snake bit that whole lineup was all season. They moved the walls in there. Talk to me about sort of the final three here.
Josh Naylor, you had 30 steals. You would have to add up the second, the third, and the fourth stolen base, uh, the second, third ranked players at first base to equal his stolen bases at first. That is how much he separated from the field. Bryce Harper, John, as you mentioned, was second at first base in stolen in steals. Um, Luis Araz, no longer a first baseman, was third, for context. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit of an aberration, but I also think, it's playing to what the league is kind of like allowing right now, right? Aaron Judge came in this offseason saying, like, they're telling me I can steal more bases, so I'm going to just steal more bases. Whether you're fast or whether you're slow, it obviously Josh Naylor is the primary indicator. You don't need to be fast to steal bases anymore. So I think Naylor looks great. Obviously, the ballpark is terrible, but like, dude, he has just been a run producing machine his entire career. We
Yeah.
92 runs, and I know he was obviously traded in the middle of the year from Arizona to Seattle, but like 3 straight years now of 92 plus RBIs for Josh Naylor. He's now played 147 games in back-to-back years. So I do think Naylor is definitely in play. We know Freddie Freeman is in the one of the best lineups, if not the best lineup in baseball. And
Good batting average. At
his
this point, you probably only lock him in for like 20 to 25 homers, but could have
yep,
120 RBI, doing that. So
his first half was way better than his second half. And like there are some expected stuff that suggests a little bit of fall off, but I do think Freddie's a solid option. After the start of his year, it is shocking to see what Pasquantino ended with across the board. Like
yeah,
when you look at the numbers, 32 bombs, 72 runs scored, 113 RBI. Only two first basemen last year had over 100 RBI, Alonso and Vinnie P. And you mentioned the walls getting moved. I mean, there's just a lot to like. Because again, if you go look at his stats last year and you just look at like month to month splits, he was horrible in the start of the year. He hit through his first 30 games, March and April, he hit 177 for an entire month, and then just demolished baseballs for the whole rest of the year.
yep.
And voila, like you end up with 32 bombs and 113 RBIs. So yeah, Vinny, this is why there's 10 first basemen going in the first 80 picks. I mean, it's a loaded position. And another, I think Vinny P of the 10, like, is the guy that I look at outside of the top five that could jump into the top five. That's the most likely candidate.
I look at him and like the first thing that comes to mind is like, why can't he do what Matt Olson does? Why can't he go and hit 270 with 35 to 40 homers, and 100? He already had 113 RBIs. Like, why can't he just do that? So
if he didn't have that first month, he probably does.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I think Vinnie Pasquantino is a really good value here. And again, when I put this graphic together, his average composite ADP was 76. It's 84 now. So like he's actually falling a little bit in drafts over the weekend. So more to the merrier for us, I guess. Go to the second of 10. Tyler Soderstrom has dual eligibility. Salvi Perez has dual eligibility. A lot of guys here up at the top. Michael Busch had a crazy run last year for Chicago. Obviously, on the graphic there, we got Willson, Contreras, and Jonathan Aranda. This is kind of an interesting group, this next 10 guys.
Definitely an interesting group. I mean, Soderstrom, Gold Glove finalist for left field after he made the switch last year. But they paid him this offseason. I think they gave him the most money in franchise history for a position player. Love Soderstrom and loved the leap last year. We talked Salvi at catcher. He's not going to spend a lot of it there, but he's going to catch. He's going to play first. He's going to DH. He was one of the most unlucky players across all of baseball last year. So I expect a leap for Salvi, even though he had a good offensive season, still hit 30 bombs. Michael Busch, I mean, slated to lead off again. He, projections like him. I mean, he's strikes out a decent amount. I mean, he cut it a lot year over year. He cut it a lot.
Only 23% strikeout rate. He's got a really bad bat speed last season, just a 16 percentile bat speed. But all the other things that count, 95% expected WOBA, 95 percentile, expected slugging, 96, exit velo 90, barrel percentage 95. Some really good StatCast metrics there, and he went on and hit 34 bombs last season. So
he just doesn't hit lefties well. 30 of 34 bombs came against righties, and he hit 207 against lefties. So that obviously has to correct itself. They don't really have like the depth. They did sign Tyler Austin, but then he got knee surgery. So like they brought him back from the MPB and then he hurt his knee.
Yeah.
So they don't really have like another first baseman now, because last year they had Justin Turner. They don't have Justin Turner this year. They had Austin to be Justin Turner. Matt Shaw's their like utility. So they are going to let Michael Busch hit against lefties. He just has to hit against lefties.
Sure.
I mean,
if he hit lefties last year, he would have been like top 5 first base.
Yeah, if he hit lefties last year, he would have absolutely been higher than 13th on this list. Still, he's being drafted in the top 105, which goes to show you how good how good first base is. Yandy is a single category player for me. He had the power surge last year, but as you kind of mentioned with Brandon Lau, this park is going to be a drastic shift. And when you look at his, entire campaign in Tropicana, it is not great. He's averaged 14 home runs per season from his age 27 to 33 campaign, which is, when he joined the Rays. So this is not a guy that's going to suddenly be a home run hitter like he was last year.
He might hit 20, right? Like probably
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, top of it, but you're going to get really good batting average, can get really good OPS, like good peripheral numbers there. You might not get the power, but that's not bad. You've said to me a bunch of times how upset you are that Willson Contreras is in Boston because you find that he profiles pretty well for Fenway here.
Yeah, I've been like screaming it at the top of my lungs how I think this fits Fenway Park. So last year, Willson Contreras had career highs in air percentage, fly ball rate, line drive rate, and his career high pull average, right? So, or pull air percent. So how much he's pulling. He was like 2x the MLB median for the amount that he was pulling the ball in the air. And this has never been a guy that hits a lot of home runs. I'm fully aware of that. But he is an 800 OPS player for his career. And this is after spending most of his career as a catcher. Obviously, he has shifted later in his career to first base. Health has been largely the detriment to Willson Contreras throughout the years. You could also chalk that up to catching as the reason why. But he's coming off a 20-70-80 year in age 33, and now he's going to an incredibly good hitting environment, especially compared to how bad Busch Stadium has been throughout the years. And you're going to, I know that there is a giant wall in left field at Fenway. I understand that. But you're now taking a guy coming off career highs and all of these things that help him elevate the baseball over that wall. And like 95th percentile bat speed at age 34 last year. So which plays into why he's able to still pull the ball so much and elevate the ball so much. So I'm looking at Willson Contreras and saying, if he stays healthy, this is a 30 home run player in his career, in the middle of the Red Sox lineup.
Sure.
And even without 30 home runs throughout his career, consistent 200 ISO, consistent 350 OBP, consistent 800 OPS player. I just think what he's going to be able to do in Fenway is add on.
Yeah, we see it all the time, right? These righty guys, they come in Bregman last year. A lot of these guys have really good home splits when they're in Boston because the wall's there, so you get a bunch of doubles, and then you get a lot of homers that don't have to go too far if you just hit it high enough. So definitely in with you there. Torkelson, kind of a funny career path for him, right? Number 1 overall pick in 2020. 2023, 30 homers as a rookie. 2024 gets demoted to the minors. 2025 comes back up, 30 homers. So what do we get this year? Does he get demoted back down to the minors, or do we get another 30 homers season?
I mean, they're definitely hoping for the latter. 30 home run season would definitely be good. Another, first overall pick at one time. I mean, slated to hit in the middle of a really good order that is going into the year really healthy, right? They have Meadows back in his platoon. They have Glaber back on the qualifying offer. We know Carpenter and Riley Green are going to hit a lot of home runs. So if you're looking for home runs, Spencer Torkelson's your guy. That's what you're drafting him for. You're drafting him for the home runs. You're drafting him for the 30 bombs.
He's your Nico Horner pair, right? If you go back to our second base
Yeah.
video, you know.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Burleson, safe, reliable pair of hands. Doesn't do like a whole lot. I mean, Jonathan Aranda's season
going to be absolute garbage this year.
Yeah, they're gonna be quite bad. Jonathan Aranda's season was absolutely just demolished by injury.
Yeah, well, Aaron Judge broke his arm, right? Wasn't it Aaron Judge that broke his arm? Or
him or Stanton, they both did it. It was one of the two largest players you don't want running into
him at first base. Yeah,
I mean, literally the two guys you don't want running into. It ran into somebody and injured somebody last year. So,
but he's another guy. 96 percentile expected WOBA, 97 percentile expected batting average, 93 percentile expected slug, 94% exit velo, 80 barrel percentage, 96 percentile hard hit rate, 98 percentile launch angle sweet spot percentage. Everything you could want from a contact percentage perspective, really, for Jonathan Aranda there. Not good bat speed. Let's take that for what it's worth. And now they are obviously moving him out of Steinbrenner Field and back into the Trop. But I mean, this dude was, he raked at the minor league level for them. He's one of their top power prospects. So I think the power just plays with him, kind of regardless of ballpark here.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna hit in the middle. I mean, they have him slated to hit in front of Junior Caminero, and Junior Caminero hit a bajillion home runs last year. I don't know what we get in terms of power from Aranda. Everything else played though. So like gonna be good in the runs category. Like this is a 50 grade power prospect. So like that's fine. 50 grade's good. Really solid option. Him and Contreras are the two like safest options, I think, in this like latter half of the top 20. Sal Stewart's a really, 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 really interesting one, obviously, because he's just gonna get like the job after like
more people probably reach for Sal Stewart than they do like Torque, Burleson, Aranda. Like I bet more people are willing to take the extra round to get Sal Stewart in their lineup this year.
Yeah, I mean, Aranda and Stewart are basically being drafted next to one another. Yeah. Aranda's definitely safer. Stewart is a really touted prospect, right? This is coming into the year as like a top 30 or right around top 30 prospect. Fourth in their organization, 55 power, 55 hit tool. Like this is a legit dude. But that doesn't mean he's going to pan out. So like people are banking on him, and Francona's. I mean, dude, Francona was banking on him so much he put him in the Dodgers series. He was starting at first base, right? He barely played last. He played how many games? He played 20 games last year. Not even. So I think Sal Stewart looks mighty interesting here. And you kind of look frozen to me. You definitely look frozen to me. In fact, no longer is he frozen. John is actually gone. What are we going to do? I bet you, he just messaged me. I bet you his cat like turned off his computer. Power flicked. It shut down on me. Okay. So we'll just break down Stewart, and then we'll go to Christian Walker. We really did break down Sal Stewart, but the upside in that ballpark is really what you're looking for. And again, 55 hit tool, gonna hit in the middle of the lineup behind Eugenio Suarez. Like that, it looks really good. And then you have Christian Walker to round out the top 20. Christian Walker and the Astros obviously have a bit of a problem because right now Isak Paredes is slated to come off the bench. And that is a depth thing that Houston has tried to address, and they have not found any bidders. John, welcome back. We cannot hear you. We cannot see you. But we do see that you are potentially here. But I was just talking Christian Walker as you sort out your camera and mic situation.
You got me now?
I do have you. We
Okay.
cannot see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, a little power flick situation just happened there, you know. So
yeah, I read the viewers the sitch here just so they're not concerned. They're probably concerned that this is kind of like a Liam Neeson situation now that you're like black screen. But you know, if I have your number, so if there is a Liam Neeson situation, I can call.
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm working on getting the camera going back working here.
Okay, we're just all making sure you're okay.
That's fine. I'm talking Christian Walker though. I see.
Yeah, I mean, the Astros just haven't addressed the elephant in the room. What they're gonna do, dude. Everyone in their organization is talking about it, including Carlos Correa. Welcome back, John. Has literally gone on record and been like, "Well, we have 4 infield spots, and we have 5 players." He has literally said that. Like, everyone in the organization's like, "Okay, so you trade Isak Paredes, right?" And then because he's obviously more tradable than a 35-year-old Christian Walker,
right?
Christian Walker, who's coming off a pretty bad year last year. You know, he did hit 27 home runs and he did drive in almost 90 runs. But it doesn't look like things are getting any better for him when you look at some of the metrics. So I don't love Christian Walker here personally.
Yeah. Again, he was another guy where the numbers at the end of season might look okay, but we know throughout the year he was almost unplayable for most of the year in terms of like DFS. You tried to find the right matchup, but his split numbers weren't as great as they had been in years past. That lineup was always kind of in shambles. You know, they had Jordan hurt for a lot of the year, and we say this: they lose Tucker, obviously to the Cubs. And then Jordan's out for most of the season, so they don't even have like their big power bat in the middle of their lineup. It just threw kind of everything off for them there. So, and again, you want to take a shot on Christian Walker. There's a lot of ambiguity as to what that role is going to end up being for him here, which maybe leads you to one of these other guys. These are the Lux 10. Cal Manzardo, we know, a lot of power for Cleveland here. Jake Berger, Luis Urias, Reiner Hearns in Pittsburgh now. Andrew Vaughn with the career revitalization with Milwaukee after he got traded out of Chicago. Spencer Steer slated to come off the bench and be a platoon guy for Cincinnati. This is not really like a great group. For me, Vaughn and Manzardo, I guess, are at least a little bit appealing.
Dude, when you look at the Vaughn like expected numbers last year, they looked really good. 254 batting average, 273 expected, 411 slug, 479 expected slug, 311 WOBA, 349 expected WOBA. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff, which we know. Everything that goes to Milwaukee turns to gold.
Sure.
I mean, they win by just trading players constantly away and just getting new blood in, and they turn them into gold over and over and over again. Quinn Priester, Andrew Vaughn, dead to rights last year. Both are like, oh, wait, we're dead to rights to every other team, but maybe not the Brewers. Like, it's just, they just do this. He's going to play every day at first base again. He's going to hit in a favorable spot in the lineup, hitting 6th potentially. So I like Vaughn here. I don't have much faith in like anything else really.
No, I agree.
Manzardo, as you mentioned, is going to hit a lot of home runs, and that's really where it stops. he's just going to hit home runs, and that's really all he can do.
Yeah, I mean, the
He's
Cleveland lineup
all
again is also one that leaves a lot to be desired outside of like a couple of plays, and at least Manzardo should be an everyday player for them. So
well, I don't know, dude. They're a very split heavy team. I mean, if you think about what they have, right? They have Manzardo going to DH. They have Reese Hoskins right now as a non-roster invite that might
yeah,
even make the team out of camp, like as the first baseman. They have David Fry, who is a guy that, coming off what he had Tommy John 2 years ago.
mhm,
We DHs, so is he going to split time with
sure.
Manzardo at DH? I'm not exactly confident in much Cleveland other than like Ramirez, Quan. We don't even know how long Quan's going to be in Cleveland. DeLauder, but is DeLauder ever going to stay healthy? There's like a lot of question marks and platoons there. So like even
Sure.
Manzardo doesn't feel safe. Berger, obviously, he had a terrible season last year. The ADP, I mean, he's gonna hit in an improved Texas lineup. You want to talk about a terrible ballpark? This is a terrible offensive ballpark. Has become a pitcher's haven. You know,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, based on everything, Fangraphs, he's gonna play every day at first. You know, they have three platoons and he's not one of them. So like maybe Berger figures it out. But like O'Hearn in Pittsburgh, can he repeat what he did last year? Arise is going to play in San Fran. I mean, that seems like a nightmare
Yeah, I mean,
situation.
there's nothing there but batting average for the Luis Horizon. Even last year, there wasn't even the batting average we're used to. Or Hearn had like 2 good months, and everything else kind of sucked last year. He just kind of carried that over.
Once he was traded, right?
Yeah.
He was not the same player
Nope.
at all.
Again, Steer's going to be in a platoon. He might get regular at bats. He's just going to play a bunch of different positions for Cincinnati, outfield and first, and things like that for them. We talked Lennon Sosa when you do the second base show. Like, there's some interest, potentially there with how he's going to be used with the White Sox. Miguel Vargas is there, who had hot runs at times last year as well for them. Josh Smith, they had so many injuries in Texas. Josh Smith played everywhere last year and was pretty good. And then Nolan Shanuel doesn't know how to hit a line drive. He just hits everything on the ground. So I don't really know what to do with the rest of this group here.
Well, the one time he did, Denzel Clark scaled the wall and
True.
flew in the air. And he put on a cape and robbed him. So he said, "I'm never hitting the ball up in the air again." I think Miguel Vargas is interesting as like a really late round flyer, slated to play every day for Chicago. Kind of like unlike Lennon Sosa and stuff, where like Lennon Sosa is probably going to play multiple positions, but at least we know with Vargas at like this ADP, he is slated to be their everyday third baseman. Super elite eye, like he is a really elite batter's eye. Some stuff leave to be like that he leaves does that we get left to be desired, but
Sure.
doesn't swing at anything, walks a lot, is always on base. I think those guys do have some upside if he can figure out some of the batted ball stuff. But yeah, I'm not really interested in any late round flyers on Sosa, Smith, or Shenwell.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. Again, I think Vaughn's the most intriguing of this group here.
Yes.
For sure, given the spot in that lineup there. So, guys, let's a look at the top 30 first basemen. Go to fantasy.com/MLB/ADP to check out the rest of the composite ADP for this position. That is updated daily. And again, as more drafts happen, ADPs are going to move. You're going to see guys moving up and down the board to follow the trends. World Baseball Classic is coming up. You got spring training games still going on. You got position battles still going on. So make sure you check all of that out. And of course, get the fantasy baseball draft guide. You can scan this QR code that's popping up on the screen momentarily for you here as my computer continues to lag a bit. There we go. Scan the QR code, get the fantasy baseball draft guide and cheat sheet that's included, and dominate your drafts. Again, check out the catcher, check out the second base videos that we got out here for ADP preview as well. Grande and I will continue to break down these positions for the moving forward to get you guys ready for the upcoming fantasy baseball season. Until then, everybody, we'll catch you later.